now it's as strong as ever. I mean, I went over to where he lives, which is something that rarely happens. Were you there? I don't know. Amazing. I mean, people have never seen it before. It's amazing, actually. We had lunch.
Talk to him about the cyber attacks that he's done in the United States or the MSS has done.
I did, and he talked about attacks that we did in China. You know, what they do, we do too. It's like the spying. They're talking about, oh, the spying. I said, well,
The spying,
we do it too. Look, no, I'm talking about spying. The question was asked to me yesterday, I guess, what about the fact that China's spying in the United States? I said, well, it's one of those things because we spy like hell on them too.
Two and a half more years, folks. Hi again, 5 o'clock in New York. With a president like that, who needs enemies? Donald Trump on Air Force.
I feel like Nicole Wallace, every time he opens his damn mouth, just absolutely mortified. Hi, my name is Suri Crowe, and you're watching the MeidasTouch Network. I mean, he's just an utter embarrassment and just, oh my God, just, I'm so ashamed for our country. From stepping in front of King Charles and Queen Camilla when they came over here to visit the United States, or stepping all over American foreign policy or whatever is left of it, if we have any of it. We are indeed watching the demise or suicide of a superpower. More on that in a moment. President Xi Jinping clearly seemed to own Trump on Trump's trip to China, and Trump came home with nothing concrete, unlike the Rose Garden that he paved over. So not sure where he's going to plant those rosebush seeds that Xi gave him. Another epic troll by Xi, by the way. But the China trip disaster was yet another adventure in Trump's ass-kissing of authoritarian leaders around the world.
We have a friendship, really. He's a tremendous leader. He's been here a long time, very powerful, very strong. There's no doubt about it. I say about him that if you went to Hollywood and you looked for a leader of China to play a role in a movie,
central casting.
He's central casting. You couldn't find a guy like him. Even his physical features, you know, he's tall, very tall. I'll get criticized. They always criticize me when I say good things about certain leaders, and this one. But he's a leader for China. He's led almost 1.5 billion people for a long time, and he's respected.
I mean, like, what? Oh my God, he's in the dark triad of the worst people on the planet. But you know who's not respected? You, Mr. Trump. The world is laughing at you and therefore us, including President Xi, who is an authoritarian, brutal dictator who is hell-bent on taking over Taiwan, our longtime Democratic ally that you appear to have completely thrown under the bus.
$12 billion, it's a lot of weapons. But, you know, when you look at the odds, China's a very, very powerful, big country. That's a very small island. It's, you think of it, it's 59 miles away, 59 miles. We're 9,500 miles away. That's a little bit of a difficult problem. With all of that being said, you know, if you look at the history of Taiwan, Taiwan was developed because we had presidents that didn't know what the hell they were doing. Because if they would have put tariffs on chips coming in, they would have never left. Everything was about Intel, and everything was about our chip companies. They stole our chip industry. So I've said that for years. I said, you know, for years they stole our chip. If we would have had one of our presidents just say, we're going to put 100% chip. You can leave, you can build in Taiwan, but you sell it back into the United States. We're going to put 100% or 200% tariff. We would have never lost a chip. We lost the chip industry. It's all coming back. And I do say this, Taiwan would be very smart to cool it a little bit. China would be very smart to cool it a little bit. They ought to both cool it.
Oh, they should cool it. Is that it? Oh, okay. Cool it, huh? Trump is completely folding on Taiwan, at least it appears to me, something that no U.S. president has ever done. He's so busy sucking up to dictators that he's destroying democracies the world over, including our own. In fact, One of the many billionaire business people that Trump took with him was Jensen Huang of NVIDIA, who seemingly can't wait to make a deal with China. Something that so concerned the Biden administration that they called it a national security threat. That's right. And the Biden administration blocked selling any AI chips to China at the time because of national security. But Trump and his billionaire cronies at every turn appear to be doing the very opposite of making America first, but rather sabotaging the United States from the inside out, looting our nation, selling it for parts to the highest bidder as they burn it all down and line their own pockets. It's something that historian and scholar Timothy Snyder has been writing and lecturing about, and he calls it a superpower suicide. This is from Timothy Snyder's Substack, where he says, empires have risen and failed before, but to my knowledge, no state has ever chosen to kill its own power and succeeded with such rapidity. It's hard to see this clearly. Even as we oppose individual Trump adventures, we hope that in some way they are based on some understanding of the national interest. They are not. To get the perspective, we need to see the nature of this anti-strategic self-slaughter. It will help to consider 13 traditional bases of state power. And then Snyder runs off a list of those 13 tenets of state power, from statehood to alliances to science to energy and tech, that he sees America just absolutely destroying in its mission of self-sabotage. You can read about all 13 of them on his wildly popular Substack. Science professor Stuart Rostocker talked about this brain drain a year ago, right after Trump took office. Take a listen.
Including Timothy Snyder, are leaving Yale University for University of Toronto because of Trump. And I want to talk about the emerging brain drain for the United States and what it means. Timothy Snyder, whose outstanding work I've known for decades now, because one of the things he studied is how people like my grandparents, aunts, and uncles were killed in Ukraine during World War II, is really going into exile. He's a Trump critic, prominent Trump critic, and he's worried about what would happen to him if he stayed. Rightly so. But he and the other two Yale professors aren't the only ones who are leaving. Science professors are leaving as well, because Donald Trump is dramatically cutting science funding in the United States. And that brain drain is going to have significant negative implications for the U.S. economy, because for 80 years, the U.S. economy has been built on brain gain. People from all over the world, scientists, engineers coming from all over the world to study here and work here. We are the world's most powerful economy because we are the innovation nation. But when scientists start to leave here, when we have a brain drain, we're no longer going to be leaders in innovation. We'll no longer have the world's most powerful economy. When you aspire to be like Russia in terms of your government, when you aspire to be like Hungary in terms of your government, which is what Donald Trump aspires for the United States, you start to have a Russian and Hungarian economy. Take a look at what those economies are like. Russia and Hungary, not so surprisingly, have brain drain. Hundreds of thousands of Russians leave every year. Tens of thousands of Hungarians flee every year. Among them, the best and brightest in their nations. Our GDP per capita is around number 7 in the world. Where is Hungary's? Around number 46. Where is Russia's? Around 67th. That's our future. That's our future because of Donald Trump.
And everything he predicted, of course, happened, and so much worse. And here is Dr. Timothy Snyder talking about superpower suicide.
We were meant to talk about just how it is that we're choosing to be so much less powerful than we could be. And so a lot of the stuff I talk about is ethical. This is not an ethical. This is an analytical claim. And the analytical surprise is that a great power would do so much so quickly to make itself so much weaker. And as a historian, I find that unusual, right? There are all kinds of stories about the ends of empire, from the Romans to the Habsburgs or whatever, but it's very hard to find tyrants or aspiring tyrants deliberately sabotaging the power of their own country.
Well, we are losing the war in Iran despite having the most bloated military budget in U.S. history. And by the way, we have the largest military in the world to begin with. It's been a disaster. Trump has no clue how to get out of this. He's bored. He's feckless. He has no strategy. Pete Hegseth doesn't know what the hell he's doing, something that Timothy Snyder talks about in that interview. The Strait of Hormuz, which was open before we attacked Iran, is now closed. The global economy is a wreck, although Trump and the fossil fuel companies, the oil barons, are making a ton of money, making money hand over fist, which Trump admitted to Xi while he was in China. Meanwhile, most of us can't afford to drive to work.
Let's think about what it actually means to win a war. So I think the fascism comparison helps, but it's like these guys are failed fascists. You know, they want somebody else to do the work of fascism for them. They want to delegate it, right? They want to do the prancing and the preening part, but they don't want to do the other part.
When you say they, who are we talking about?
Yeah, I'm talking about Trump and Vance, first of all. The person who matters in the war story and the person who is most responsible for the superpower suicide has got to be Trump himself, right? But then there are the people around him. In terms of this war, Hegseth, obviously, right? I mean, there's somebody who seems to be clearly imprisoned in a set of ideas about how the world works, which are demonstrably false. And then on the practical side, making tons of money for yourself personally is inconsistent with the functioning of the state. And so if you're putting, I don't think it's unfair to say that if you're putting Steve Witkoff or Jared Kushner or Donald Trump, for that matter, in front of a choice, and the choice is you would like to have a thriving American civil service or you would like to have $3 billion. I think it's pretty clear, you know, which those men, I think there's a record, let's say, an empirical record about which they would choose. And so with Trump, sure, he would like to have lots of power, but I think the people who are naturally around him are chaos makers who tend to see the disruption, to use a word they like, as an opportunity to take lots of money.
In the end, Trump, his billionaire greed monsters are gutting America like a fire sale, all for profit. And we are watching the fall and fail of empire. But as Dr. Snyder writes, that is not the worst thing. He writes, the systems that made the United States a superpower cannot be rebuilt as they were, nor should they be. They involve structural injustices that made the present attempt at self-annihilation possible. From where we stand now, there are two ways forward. One is the self-induced downfall of the American Republic. The other is to reconsider American ideals and to restructure American politics so as to bring the people greater power over a more just future. I say this all the time because there is no going back to normal, because normal is how we landed in this horrible place to begin with. There is only going forward to a new place, a better place, to rebuild a just America where we all have equality, where there is no corrupt and racist Supreme Court that lets racist red states gerrymander to their heart's content, but demands that blue governments sit out. The question is, are you going to come on the march with us or sit this out? I mean, yes, we have an alternative, and that's just to slide into further autocracy and end up like Russia or wallow in, whatever 20 years like Hungary did. But we have the chance to get out now, but it's so incredibly urgent and we need all hands on deck. So please follow my socials, and in the description below, I am tagging a link to progressive candidates who are running AIPAC free for abolishing ICE. They are for court reform. They are for Medicare for all. And click on it and see who you can get behind and support if they're in your districts, or even if they're not. These people need support because we cannot continue as we have been. That's what landed us in this hell in the first place. So let's go, you guys. Let's be fierce, my friends. And I will see you back here soon. Peace.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.